So if it wasn't obvious already, I'm one of the biggest Rimuru stans you will ever find on this planet. So when I say something like Rimuru is probably the best Isekai MC in the whole genre, people normally get upset at me saying that, oh, you're just a Rimuru stan, that's the only reason why you say that. True. But no, there are actually a wide range of reasons why I actually consider Rimuru the best. So instead of just meat riding and fanboying, well, I'm still gonna meat ride and fanboy, but this time I'll do it with facts. First off, Rimuru's reincarnation itself is completely different from most other Isekai characters. While most characters get reincarnated by Truck-kun, or Shock, Rimuru himself got sent to the afterlife by a knife. And while it's not as interesting as getting slammed in the face by a truck, it's a small but nice change of the usual way of doing things. And while most other Isekai characters start off their second life as a human granted some type of cheat ability, Rimuru gets reincarnated as nothing but the weakest monster in all of fantasy history, a slime. Slime. But you know what? He basically did it to himself when he was creating his second body, so what the heck. And then again, if I can get this done to me by just being a slime, well, slurp slurp. But basically he starts off his journey hella nerfed, and even though he gets reincarnated as one of the weakest monsters in all of fantasy, except in hentai, he goes on to make multiple more powerful allies like Veldora the Storm Dragon, who is one of only 4 true dragons in the world. And if you don't really get how big of a deal that is, one true dragon is enough to destroy countless nations, possibly the world. So being friends with one of them is kind of a big deal. He goes on to then acquire multiple ultimate skills, which are considered to be the most powerful skills in the Tensor universe. And while one of the strongest demon lords only has 1, Rimuru has 4. He also then goes on to build his own nation of monsters full of women with huge personalities. Unlike a 12-year-old kid that got dumped by his girlfriend in the 6th grade and decides that he now hates the world, he doesn't stay stagnant or boring right throughout the series, and his character actually goes through quite a bit of development the more the series goes on. He doesn't just improve when it comes to strength either. Over a period of time, he adapts to his position as a leader. When we see Rimuru for the first parts of the series, he's kind of described and looked at as somewhat naive because of his dream of having a nation of monsters that can coexist with humans, and because of his somewhat carefree and lighthearted nature. But after the events of the Falmouth War, Rimuru realizes that he can't really be friendly with all the humans just because he likes them. After almost losing more than 50% of his subordinates and his bodyguard Shion Ramsey, he takes on a much more serious persona after becoming a demon lord. It isn't shown very much in the anime, but in the manga, when dealing with other human nations, Rimuru is a lot more straightforward and more stern, which is completely different from how he used to act when he would try to be more friendly to other nations. Which just goes to show that even if he's everyone's favorite slime that gets more game than you or me, when he's dealing with anyone that could be even considered an enemy, he completely switches to a more serious tone. Now, when you compare Rimuru's growth to other Isekai characters that had a similar plotline, like for example Ainzul Gon from Overlord, Ain started out with everything he originally had in his game, all his stats, skills, abilities, and even Nozarik. And when you compare his growth to Rimuru's growth and potential, I'm sorry, Rimuru just comes out on top. Don't get me wrong, Ain's is sick as fuck. But apart from him learning to be a better leader, I can't see anything that he develops so much in the series that could possibly be better than Rimuru. The only characters that I can actually see beating Rimuru when it comes to development are characters like Rudius or Subaru, who have their whole anime centered around them becoming a better character and developing more. Then again, the shit these two get put through is just sad. With the amount of suffering these two have been through, I'd actually be surprised if they didn't at least have a little character development. And you know what? I have to consider that a dub. If the only characters that can actually beat him when it comes to development are characters that have literally gone through hell and back, I'm good. I'll take what I can get. Now, the way I see it is that Rimuru is most likely the strongest Isekai MC, with the sole exception of just two people, which are Izoi and Honest Voldegood, and after those two, I don't really think anyone else really comes close. Now, some people do try to argue the fact that Ainz is actually stronger than Rimuru, even though that's not even close to being the case. At best, Ainz is probably planetary level, while Rimuru is multiversal level and could be stronger. Now, that might not mean much to you if you don't know much about power scaling, but just picture this. At most, Ainz could probably destroy a large country or a continent, while Rimuru can destroy multiple universes bigger than the sizes of our own. And even with all that power, Rimuru still doesn't just jump into any fight willy-nilly like that. With the help of Raphael, he fights most of his battles strategically and cautiously, even if he has an overwhelming power or number advantage. Which is what I mean when I say Rimuru is both overpowered but balanced, because when you look at someone like Shadow, who is powerful and skilled, he doesn't necessarily think his battles through. I mean, the show is literally about him accidentally becoming one of the greatest anti-heroes in the world. Now, you guys all knew this was coming, his appearance. Now, when it comes to his appearance, I actually don't mind it that much, although a lot of people say it makes him look girly and feminine, even though he literally got his body from a girl. But honestly, I prefer this over literally 90% of how Isekai characters look. And when you look at the drip on this man, I'm sorry, the mask, the robe, and even the little sword at the side, coldest drips since the Akatsuki robe. If you disagree, I don't give a shit! And those are all my reasons why Rimuru Tempest is just the best. Now, if you'd like to convert to Tempestism, please subscribe and hit the like button. And I'll see you guys next week.